All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the title of the talk is Stories from the Heart, Reflections of Young Leaders. We have, for moderating this session, Ms. Lee Ping Lo. I'll very briefly introduce her. She's the Cultural Affairs Officer at the U.S. Consulate in Pakistan. And ma'am, you can take it forward from there.
Yes, please. Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. My name is Lee Ping Lo, and I am the Cultural Affairs Officer at the U.S. Consulate General in Karachi. It's a pleasure to be here at the 7th Karachi Literature Festival, and we're very pleased that we have such a large audience for today's panel discussion, Stories from the Heart, Reflections of Young Leaders. Many of you may not realize that annually, the U.S. government sends approximately 1,300 Pakistanis to the United States each year on U.S. government exchange programs. These are mostly for educational purposes as well as for professional development. The programs range for anywhere for high school students to go on training programs, to short-term professional development exchanges, to educational studies for master's degree and higher. For today's panel, we're honored to have 4 distinguished panelists, 4 alumni of various U.S. government programs. They're doing incredible work in Pakistan, so we're going to take this opportunity to highlight their experiences in the United States and how the experience in the U.S. transformed their lives. So let me start off by introducing the panelists. This is Babar Ali, and he went to the United States in 2011 on our Space Camp program. The Space Camp program is targeted for alumni of our Access English Micro Scholarship Program, which is a 2-year intensive English language program for young students in Pakistan. And Babar spent about 2 weeks, about 2 weeks in the United States, learning about what space is about, learning how to become an astronaut, the different tests and experiences that you take. Next is Maria Takdiz, who is a YES alumni. Maria spent about a year in the United States on the YES program, which stands for Youth, Exchange, and Study. On this program, she spent a year in high school, living with an American family, and going to the United States. So she will have some fascinating stories to share with us. Next is Arslan Parvez. He's currently a junior faculty at the National Academy of Performing Arts, NAPA. And over the course of 2 years, Arslan has spent about a year and 2 months at the University of Texas, Austin, at the Butler School of Music, learning about Western music and working on an ensemble, which is the highlight of a university partnership between UT Austin and NAPA. And last is Atia Abbas, who is a Fulbright alumna. She just finished her master's degree at the University of Missouri in journalism, and she returned to Pakistan last fall. And she's heavily involved as a volunteer at Girls at Dabas, which is a movement to reclaim public spaces and to empower women. So what will happen is I will first pose questions to all the panelists so that way we can find out more about their experiences in the United States. Then I will open it up to Q&A with the audience so that you can ask questions to these panelists in case that we left out anything else or if there are specific questions that you want to ask. So I'm going to start off first by asking the panelists, specifically, tell us and share with us your favorite memory of your time in the United States. So Babar, if you can begin first.
Assalamu alaikum. My favorite memory from the Space Camp, I hope you can listen to me. So my favorite memory from the Space Camp would be that there was simulation. Space Camp was all about simulations, and we were trained like real astronauts through simulation. So there was simulation that was called centrifuge, and we would experience 4G. Okay, I'm short. Okay. Okay, so we experienced 4G, that is 4 times the gravitational weight. So I was around 50 that time. So my weight went to 200 kilograms, and my cheeks, they were all flying, and I looked very funny. So that was my favorite memory from the space camp. And then another thing was meeting a lot of Americans and Indian fellows there, and there was a filmmaker. He was called Emmanuel Itum, and I met him. I got acquainted with him, and then I learned filmmaking from him. I learned few techniques about filmmaking, and he inspired me to become a filmmaker. I'll talk about it. I think I'll talk about it later too. So these were my favorite memories from the space camp.
Okay. So you can tell from Babar that he originally went to space camp to become an astronaut, but instead he's become an inspiring filmmaker. Okay. Next is Maria.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My memory from US is like the family, my host family where I've been. My dad was Jewish and my mom was Christian and I was Muslim. So we were like sharing 3 religions in one family. So that was the best part of my year there because like on Friday we used to go to mosque. Then on Saturday we used to go to temple, and then on Sunday we used to go to church. So that was the best part of my exchange year, that we were sharing 3 religions and we were sharing the similarities in the religions, and we were telling the entire community that how it's like living in a family holding 3 different religions and sharing the similarities. So that was the best part of my exchange year.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay. And Arsalan?
Good morning, everybody. Well, I would say my favorite memory was we used to have Monday jam nights at the Elephant Room. It was one of the most privileged and prestigious jazz bar where a lot of musicians would come and play music. And at first, when I go there, I was so nervous. I was like, "Oh, these guys are so good. You don't know this music, and you're still playing." But when you play music together, and after a while, you were just like in the tempo, and everything was good. And we played like 30 minutes together. That was one of my most favorable moments. We were not prepared, but we did a show then for just like 30 minutes without any rehearsal and without anything. That was one of the really good things.
Okay, and Atia?
Oh, hello, everyone. My favorite memory from the US was traveling solo across from one coast to the other, and I traveled to about 10 states, and I did it by myself, and I never thought that I would be this okay being alone, but I think it was the best experience of my life.
Okay, and so can you share with us, why that was the best experience of your life? Because I think to a lot of us in the crowd, traveling by yourself, going from East Coast to West Coast, would be kind of scary.
Well, because I decided there's this website called couchsurfing.org where you kind of just put out requests to stay with people, and you essentially rely on the kindness of strangers to let you stay with them. And I don't know, I thought that was really exciting, and I made a lot of friends that way, friends I'm still in touch with, and I don't think it could have happened without my Fulbright experience.
Okay. And Arslan, what about you? What was your most challenging experience? All of you have shared your favorite memory with us, but say what was the most challenging situation that you faced?
The most challenging was looking at the sheet and playing it. Like here, how you learn music with a teacher, they will give you a thing, they will play for you, and they will ask you to repeat until you're good at it. But there, they don't play for you. They will just give you a sheet of music. They will ask play.
Okay, so then how did you, with other musicians, other students at the University of Texas, Austin, how did you bridge that?
It took a little time, but then again, I figured out that they were basically not reading all the music. They were remembering some of the chunks of it. So I started doing the same thing because we are really good at remembering but not reading. So I figured out how to do it later.
Okay. And Maria, what was your most challenging experience?
The most challenging was the culture. I mean, I belong to a really very different culture part. Like I belong to from Swat Valley. Basically, I'm from Swat Valley. So going there and interacting with the society out there, they are so modern, and so they blend in each other. I mean, it was really tough part for me. And because I went there in 2004, and 9/11 was really fresh in the memories, so it was really hard to, to tell them that what Islam is, what Pakistan is all about. I mean, when I introduced myself in US history class, that I'm from Pakistan, they didn't even know that we're in Pakistan, and what is Pakistan, where it is in the map. And then my teacher showed them that this is Pakistan in the map. They were thinking that Islam is another country. So that was quite challenging to, explain them about Islam, my culture, and all the positive stuff about us, Pakistans.
Okay, and Barbara, what about you? What was the most challenging experience you faced?
At the end of our course, there was an extended duration mission which was about 4 hours long, and in that mission we had to go up through simulations. We had to go up in the space and fix a satellite. And I was the mission specialist for the program, and I was hung through a very long chain, and I was flying, and I had to fix the satellite, and there was very limited time, and I was wearing this very heavy space suit which was too hot inside, and we were wearing an ice jacket inside. So it was really a tough job for me, but alhamdulillah, I succeeded.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I think from the stories, Barbara went to the United States in 2011, Maria went in 2004, Arsalan has gone from, I think, 2013?
2014.
Okay, 2014, and Atia, I think 2013?
To 2015.
Yeah, to 2015. So you have a different time span for each of our exchange alumni. But in their stories, they have a common theme where they learn more about themselves and about American culture. So share with the audience, what was the most surprising thing that you learned about living in the United States? And I'll start with Maria first.
The most surprising thing?
Yeah, the most surprising thing that you
the
learned.
very first day in United States, and the very first meeting with my host family and the host dogs, like they had 3 pet dogs in the family. And I already had really bad experience in Pakistan. Back in Pakistan, I had really bad experience with dogs. So I was not expecting, that they're going to have 3 dogs in a row, and they're going to welcome me in the family with barking and jumping at me, and I was so scared. And it took me a while to, to make friends with them. And later on, I was very friendly. I mean, they were so good with me, and I used to take them on walk, and everything was fine. But the very first day was the worst day, in a way I can say.
Okay. And what about you, Arslan?
I would say the time and the way they communicate. When we were having rehearsal, let's say if we were having rehearsal at 3:30, they would show up at 3:15 tuning their instrument, they're ready. And we were like, we were coming at 4, relaxing, and they're just looking at us and are you guys serious? We need to. So that's the thing I learned from them. Be on time, be before time, get ready, and start working. And the other thing, they write everything. If they want to communicate with you, they will not give you a call. They will write an email, or they will write it down, a text or anything. They will not call you, or they will not just do on verbal commitments. They need something in written.
Okay. All right, Atia?
I found that there's a lot of talk that there's no family culture in the United States. I found that wasn't true at all. Everyone I knew was extremely close to their families, and when I would talk about my parents, they were like, we can totally relate because we are like that with our parents too. So I mean, that was some an aspect that I had to change. That's what the US experience did, that it opened my eyes to the fact that there is a family culture in the United States.
Okay, and Barbar?
At the space camp, they had their dinner very early. So they had their dinner around 5. So we are Karachiites, we stay up all night and we have our dinner at around 11. So for me it was really shocking, and because they'll give us food at 5 and then we'll be hungry again at 9 and 8 and we won't sleep. So it was, and one of our friend Hassan, he used to have some snacks, so we were always behind him. Give us some food. We want to have some food.
Okay, all right. So everyone on the panel has shared with us their their memories of their time in the U.S. So I'm going to move it a little bit forward and ask them questions about what they're doing now after their exchange experience in the United States. So Arsalan, can you start off the panel by sharing with the audience what you're currently doing now, and perhaps tie it into what did you learn on your exchange experience, and how has that affected what you're currently doing in Pakistan?
I'm currently working as a junior faculty at the National Academy of Performing Arts, teaching jazz improvisation and guitar techniques. I learned rock-based and Indian classical music at Napa, and I graduated in 2012. And what I learned jazz improvisation, guitar techniques, and Western harmonization. And what we're doing right now, we actually updated the curriculum for our academy, and we have introduced new courses like ear training, sight singing, skills development, keyboard training. And our students now, instead of having 3 courses, they're having 5 courses a semester. So we're working on it. And what we are trying to do now, NAPA is actually awarding a diploma, 3 years diploma. What we're looking for, making it a degree awarding institute where people can come and get a degree and get graduated in music from NAPA.
Okay, and why do you think these changes that are taking place at Napa important?
Because what I feel like a lot of students, a lot of people, they want to learn music. They don't do it because they don't see a career after it. And a lot of people don't see that. They don't look music as a proper education. They always feel like it's just a way of, youngsters getting involved in different things. But once you get it and make it a proper education, people would consider it as a proper academic education degree, which is necessary for both performing arts and both education of Pakistan. And then also people I always wanted to do a master's degree in jazz improvisation, but I couldn't do it because I never had those credit hours. Because of the diploma, I never had the same credit hours as the bachelor's degree. So this is really important to have an institute. And NAPA is the only academy in all Pakistan which actually giving you performing arts, theater, dance, and music. So it is really important for it.
Okay, I'm going to ask the same question to Atia. As I said in the beginning, she went to the United States on a Fulbright scholarship to study journalism. And upon her return to Pakistan, she's now, I think, a freelance writer and doing more in terms of what I call community service, reclaiming Karachi's public space.
So one of our classes were about how you can disseminate information through social media, and that is something that I have really taken and I adapted because I think young Pakistanis are using social media more and more as a medium of protest, and I think that's really great. And this is something that I'm trying to apply in what I do with girls at Dhabas is that we go to we have a feminist book club, and we go to spaces and to Dhabas, and we write about our experiences with gender equality and I have learned from the US to adapt over here, and that's what my Fulbright experience taught me.
Okay. All right. And what can you share, like maybe 1 or 2 social media tips that you've learned?
It always helps to, a lot of hashtags don't help, and it's always good to keep it extremely short and catchy so that people will want to read and find out more. And also video and photos always help, so there's that.
Okay. And earlier when I introduced Babar, I said that he had gone to space camp. And when you go to space camp, you think about going into space, becoming an astronaut. But instead, Babar met a filmmaker while he was at space camp, and that has changed Babar's life. So Babar, if you can explain to us.
Yes, as I told earlier, I met Emmanuel and I got inspired from him. And then when I returned to Pakistan, then through online tutorials, through YouTube, I learned the basic techniques about filmmaking. And then I chose it as a career, and now I'm working as a professional filmmaker. Recently, we did a project with I'm Karachi and Karachi Youth Initiative, in which we made around 7 films. It was a 1.5 hour content, and then we screened these films all around Karachi. And I also founded an organization which is called the House of Peace. And at House of Peace, we are making films that have some sort of positive messages in them and that raise awareness about certain issues. And then we screen them, we put them on social media, and we have a lot of audience on social media, and we put our messages in front of a lot of audiences through our screenings. One of my films that was Khudi, it was a short motivational documentary about a blind newspaper seller. It got viral on the internet and it has millions of views. So, and one of my recent films, it's a 35-minute film, Departure, which is the best film that I think I've made so far. So it would also be inshallah winning a lot of festivals, hopefully. And I'm making a lot of films this year too, and will be screening them all around Karachi. So I'm making a lot of films, learning, and I want to make feature-length films very soon, inshallah.
Okay, and Barbara, if we want to see some of your films, which website, which Facebook page?
You can see them on Zahir's theater group. It's ZAHRSSS. So you can search it on the Facebook, and you'll see all the videos that you see on that page. Most probably, most of them are made by me. So you can go and see them. Some of the films, they are not shared on social media because of some restrictions, like the longer films. So inshallah, if you stay in touch on my Facebook page, so then I'll share the event in which it would be screened. Most probably we will be screening them at Napa.
Sure.
So you can come and see them.
Okay, great. And then Maria went to the United States in 2004 as a high school student. And now she's doing a lot of work in Baldia town, running a vocational training center. So Maria, can you share with us, how did you go from a high school student living 1 year in the United States to running a vocational training center in Baldia town for underprivileged children?
Yes, living in US, one thing that I learned there, that if life throws a problem at you, how can you change into an opportunity for yourself? So after coming back, I got married, within 3 months, I got married and came to Baldia town, Karachi. So that was a big cultural shock for me. I mean, Baldia town is under most underprivileged areas of Karachi. Most of the people live there below the poverty level. Even my in-laws, they were not aware of any education. I mean, they were belong to the, you can say, driver family, rickshaw driver, truck driver, and bus driver. They were from such type of family. And most of the people I was meeting there, they were totally illiterate. So that was the challenge for me, because I was born in one room. I was not allowed to go out. I was not allowed to communicate with strangers. I did not have computer. I did not have TV. I did not have cell phone. I had nothing to communicate with the world outside. I was totally born. I was totally, you can say I was dead, because no one knew that where is Maria now, So what I did, then I revised all the memories, the things I did in the US, I learned there. The one thing that, how can I change the community around the society? I can change the society. I knew it. So what I did, I sold my wedding ring and I bought a computer. I had one room because we were in the joint family. So I had that one room, and I bought that computer and invited the women from the society, because I believe if the woman in the family is educated, then she can educate the entire nation. So I target the women in the family. So I invited them and tell them that the importance of education, and how can they seek an education by sitting in a house, and then they don't have to go out. So one woman who came to me, she was totally illiterate. She didn't know even how to write a text, how to text a message. So within 1 month, she was texting me back, and she was telling me that, Maria Baji, I cannot come to the institute today, ye problem hai, wo problem hai. So that was the first achievement. Then another girl who was the daughter of, you can say, Busi Tukrewala. she was the daughter of that person, and she came to me. She wanted to do a BCom, and she wasn't able to afford the coaching fees. So I provide her the free coaching and then the computer education. And now she is working with an NGO in Interior Sindh and teaching girls in Gwadar as a computer teacher. So then I realized that education, like teaching them English language and computer, is not enough, because there were still many of my students who weren't allowed to go out, and learning English was not giving them any benefit. So I added some vocational courses in my institute, and I added beautician course, tailoring course, jewelry making, foil work, interior designing, mehndi art. So with that, we are teaching them that skills, and then we teach them internet, how to use internet, and then we teach them English language so they can run their own small businesses by sitting at home. So that was the best part. That's what I'm doing. I started it with one room, one computer, and now it's entire building and I'm the founder of Yes Alumni Vocational Training Institute. So that's what I'm doing there.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Maria. That's truly inspirational. So as the title of this panel says, it's Stories from the Heart, Reflections of Young Leaders. And I think everybody on this panel is a young leader in their own right, whether it's filmmaking, whether it's providing training and education, giving more structure to music curriculum, journalism, and creating public discussion. One question that I have for all the panelists is, Pakistan is one of the youngest countries in the world. It has one of the largest youthful populations, meaning its country's population anywhere from the ages of 13 to 25. So as a young leader, where do you see Pakistan going, say, in 10 years? And how can you make a difference in your country? How can you inspire others? So I'll start that with Atia from down there.
I think one thing that the US, our experiences have taught us is that everything is a collaborative process. And I think that as in 10 years, we will start collaborating more instead of saying that this is something that I have done, and I think instead, less individualistic and more community oriented, which is where Pakistan will start going. So that's the direction I see.
Okay, Arsalan?
Well, what I see is being young, and I see young people have started asking questions. Asking questions is really important. Like when I was a kid, when I would ask any question to my family about anything, about religion and everything, they'll say, okay, you don't need to ask that thing, just follow what we are doing, But now I need to have an answer, like why we are doing this thing, you need to know. So people are getting aware, they question everything, not just religion, your politics, your education and everything, which is what I think that the youngsters are leading the country now. When they find the answer, they will work on it. Instead of just roaming around and questioning again and again, they're finding the answer and they're working on it now.
Maria?
Okay, for me, it's important to educate the women. The same thing, if the woman in the family is educated, that the entire nation will be educated. So that's my focus here, and I'm working for it.
Okay, Babar?
I would agree with Arsalan. People are getting aware, and like me, there are people like me and like us who are using their skills. Like I'm using filmmaking to create awareness among the audiences. So people are getting aware, and I hope 10 years is a lot of time. So in 10 years, hopefully, we'll see a much better situation here in Pakistan.
Okay. So before I open the session to questions from the audience, I'm just going to ask each panelist to share with us. So if you could say something, one piece of advice or a motto to share with all the youngsters, all the youth, and potential future leaders of Pakistan in this room, what would you say? What would your one piece of advice be? And I'll start off with Babar.
I would say that be focused, choose your goal wisely, and then just follow it. Don't look left, don't look right, just follow your goal and achieve it.
Okay, so I mean, there are so many of us who have the opportunities in life. We get a lot, but there are so many communities, so many people who do not get such opportunities which we have. So just go there, choose the people, choose the community, and help them, and make them live as you are living. So that's what my advice is for you.
I would say believe in yourself. If you have dreams, believe in them and make them bigger.
Going off of what Maria said, that it's important to raise, not that if you recognize that you've had a standard of living, it's important to give back, and I would add to that support each other. If someone has a dream, support them instead of saying that this isn't possible, because everything is possible.
Great. So those are inspirational words to stay focused, to basically help other people, to believe in yourself, and to give back to your community. So I'm going to open it up to questions from the audience. So if you raise your hand, we'll have someone from the Karachi Literature Festival pass the microphone to you. Okay, there's one question right here in the front.
Hi, my name's Maria as well. The question that I have is that, do you think that in our community, the way we live and the educational system that we have, do you think we should introduce a music curriculum at a very basic level? Like, for example, over here in the 9th grade, we've got commerce, we've got biology, and we've got other various, and we've got computers and all. So do you think we should raise awareness from here that these subjects are provided and you can get degrees in this as well, so that it can be appreciated? If yes, then how are you going to go about it, and how are you going to convince the entire government to make this an achievement?
Okay, so maybe this question is for
See,
Arsalan.
the answer is in yourself. Have you seen a kid, when you see small kids, they learn poems, they learn the basic ABCD, they rhyme, they sing it. Have you seen a kid just saying a monophonic A, B, C, D? No, you cannot make them learn, which is important. That's how kids learn, and that's where we started. Like, I'm not only working with NEPA, I'm also working with Lyceum and other schools, where I'm telling people that it is really important to give music education. Now, with music education, people think that you need to learn the notation and everything. No, it's just a basic understanding of rhythm and tempo, right? And why it is important, I mentioned earlier, and how we can do it. What the higher education says that about the rules and what they said, that you need to have a piece of land where you can start an academy, all right, and you need to teach English, Urdu, and Islamiyat along with the music courses. Now, what we want our kids to learn English, Urdu, and Islamiyat, but instead of that, how about if we made our senior students who are actually in the 4th year or 3rd years to do research and write history about our music education? We've been privileged to give the world the Qawwali that we have. That's the only music that Pakistan have that given to the world. Qawwali is just us. That we have given the Qawwali music. It's not India. Pakistan has given the Qawwali too. And other than that, the Indian classical music that we have in the region, nobody else does it other than us. And we don't have a system to actually write down our music. It's all based on our oral training. So it is really important to carry if we are looking to preserve or to save our music, we need to have a music education program.
All right, thank you, Arslan. I think next question. If you can also, if there's a specific person that you want to direct your question to, Babar, Maria, Arslan, or Atio, or if it's for the entire panel, just please let us know.
Hello. My question is directed to all 4 of you, and it's regarding all of your parents. Because considering, as we have been told, the majority of Pakistan's population is made up of youngsters and teenagers. And we know coming into the next 10 years, we are what's going to be the difference in the economy, going up or down or staying where it is. And where it is right now is not very desirable. So considering that the power to change the world and to make it a better place, all of us have it. So the thing is, all of your parents trusted you to send you all abroad, and they had the courage and the capacity to believe in you. The thing is, in our society, we have a lot of negative stereotypes, especially of women working outside, and we have a lot of negative stereotypes for specific jobs not being done by men just because they're too girly or they're feminine. We have a lot of these stereotypes, and the one thing that we can break them with is having a good parent-child relationship. So I would like to ask, how did your relationship with your parents affect you guys becoming leaders today? Thank you.
I think yes, I really have to give credit to my parents. The reason I had a good relationship with them, and the basis of it all was conversation. There was never a time that they did not share what they were doing. So if parents are worried that their children are not reading, it's because my father says that those children don't see their parents reading. But because my parents would always be seen reading, we got encouraged to read as well. So I think, and then we would talk about what we are doing. There was never a time I don't remember telling my parents what I'm up to, who my friends are. So there was always that trust built between them. So I think the thing you can take away from here is have a conversation with them, always.
Well, for me, it was a complete different experience. My family is I belong to a really religious family, and when I was like, I think 5 or maybe 8, I was in 5th standard, I still remember, on my birthday I asked for a guitar. And my parents were like, no, you cannot have it, it's not a good thing. Like, I love it, I like to do that. So they were like, no. And they say that, okay, once you're done with your metric, you can have a guitar. And after I was like, oh, I'm done with my metric, let me have a guitar. And they're like, no, it's not really good in our society. People don't think it's a good job. And so I was like, okay, you made me a promise that you would do it. So what I did, I actually saved money from my pocket money. I bought a guitar, put it in a friend's house, and I still remember I used to walk like 2 miles every day to go to arts council. They used to have guitar classes at that time. And I didn't tell my parents that I'm going to learning guitar. And one day we were having a talent show in Beria College in Oregon, and I invited my parents there. I was playing guitar, and my father was like, "You are playing guitar?" Like, I cannot stop myself. He said that, okay, whatever you're doing, he understood that that's what I wanted. I said that, this is my thing. I cannot be a doctor. I cannot do pre-medical. I mean, I'm really good at zoology and botany, but that's not what I want to do. So what they said, okay, we appreciate what you're doing, but don't stop your education. In their mind, they still had the idea that music is not a proper education. But then, when they see me now, after doing a diploma in music, working in the only arts academy in Napa, a really prestigious academy, and going abroad, learning in Butler School of Music, and bringing the curriculum here and working on it, that's a big achievement for me, I think. And now my parents, when your family members come and they ask what your kids is doing, they will not tell them, okay, he's playing guitar or he's learning music. They say, oh yeah, he's studying. But now they say that he's a music educator. So I'm proud that my parents are feeling proud for it, that I'm doing a good job.
Okay. I was 5 when my mother died. And till then to now onwards, my father, who is always there supporting me and encouraging me for stepping forward, moving forward, doing all the stuff that I wanted to do, because he have believed in me. He encouraged me at that time when I heard that in my host family, I am going to have 4 host brothers, and there is no sister in a family. So it was, for other parents, it should have been hard to send your daughter in a family where you're going to have 4 host brothers. But he believed me. He told me that you're not going there alone. You are taking your country with you. You are taking your nationality with you. So whatever you're going to do there will represent your country, your nationality, and all of us. So that line, that sentence is always in my mind, and I always follow his advice wherever I go.
I was an engineering student, and then I decided to become a filmmaker. And everyone was going to tell my parents that कि क्या बच्चे को क्या हो गया, ये शादियों की videos बनाएगा क्या? So they didn't have a proper idea that they thought that I'll be making videos of weddings and I will covering such type of events. But I told my parents, no, I want to become a filmmaker. I want to make films, the films like we see at cinemas and on our TV screens. So it wasn't that difficult to convince my parents because they were very supportive, and my parents are sitting right here. And you can see that they attend each and every event that I go. And despite of lack of resources, they always supported me and they encouraged me. So they're helping me a lot. So because of having such supportive parents, I'm able to focus on my goals. Otherwise, I would have been always convincing my parents, कि पापा ये करने दें, ये करने दें. So that's not the case here.
So I think that was a wonderful question that you asked, and I think one thing that we all need to recognize is that without the support and our love from our parents, what we want to do wouldn't be possible. And as each of our panelists have demonstrated, is the support from their parents, whether it's through conversation or when they first say no, you find another way, maybe saving your pocket money. And living up to your parents' expectations that you represent Pakistan, and the support that Babar's parents, with them in the audience, giving to their kids. Is there another hand raised in the audience? Yes.
Thank you. Those of you, two of you who went to US universities, what difference did you find between the education in Pakistan and US? Second question to all of you, what is American culture?
Good questions.
So I think the main difference, I think, between the grad school there and here is that there's a structured curriculum that you follow from week 1 to week 16, and the professors have extremely high expectations of you to perform well, which is why you work harder for a grade there than you do here. So I think that was a difference that I saw. And I think the best thing about what is American culture, I would say the words, individualism, kindness, and a propensity to respect someone's privacy, which is, I think, a quality that we can all apply.
Well, I will agree with Atiya said that the curriculum is really structured. If I'm talking about the music education here and there, the biggest difference was the curriculum. Not as just like Western. I tell you one thing. There was a department called ethnomusicology. What ethnomusicology is, where people would learn music from different culture and different parts of the world. And there were so many students who were working on South Asian music, and they were having a better curriculum than us. And that was a really shocking thing for me. The information was the same. I'm not considering the information. Information here is also really good, really authentic. The difference is just the way you preach, the pedagogy, the way of teaching. It's really different. And culture, I would say people are really friendly and warm. They are very welcoming. They're really welcoming. If they, just like for us, if we see a person from States, from any part of the world, we get excited. When you say that you're from Pakistan, they get really excited, and they say, oh, how long was the flight? That's the first question they ask, like how long was the flight? And you say that like 18 hours from Abu Dhabi to Chicago. They're like, wow, that's a big thing. So people are really open to learn. They don't judge you you being on your presence or your let's say which religion you belong or which country you belong or what color you are. People just want to know you, who you are. That's the biggest difference.
American culture, what I believe is there is no American culture because people from around the world are living, unitedly in that nation, and it's like a box of crayons. It's like a box of colors where different colors live together, and that's what American culture is for me. It's a multicultural country, so people share their culture, people share their events, people enjoy everything together, and they live together. I mean, that's the inspiring thing for me.
I don't know if that answers the question, but I would say that American people, they respect our culture. Like we used to offer our prayers 5 times, and once we were offering the namaz in the room, and there were other American boys as well in our room, and they were just sitting quietly and not talking, and it was just so peaceful, and I was really impressed by the way they respect our culture. And that is all I want to say.
Okay. Any more hands? Yes, sir. If there can be a microphone.
Shukriya. It was very inspiring hearing your stories and experiences and the initiatives you are taking in your fields. But my question to you is, it's very good. First of all, you must be rooted in what you're doing, but you should also have relate to the bigger scene in Pakistan, for instance, the narrow-mindedness, the battle for peace, or rather the peace movement, how we have to cope with not just terrorism, but the terrorist mindset. So think about these things, is my request, because you're doing good work, and maybe wherever you take such initiatives, people will rally with you. So just a suggestion. Would you be interested?
Oh,
is
yeah.
my question.
We made an ensemble last year when I went to States. We went to this partnership program where we need to make an ensemble. An ensemble is a group of musicians, 6 people from Pakistan and 6 people from States. They made an ensemble and they named it Sangat. Sangat basically it's a Sanskrit word which means to come together, to company. And the idea was to let people understand that when people from different cultures come together and make music, that's where we can bring peace and harmony, because that's the language we all speak. We all listen to music. We all make music. So we are in the process of bringing people together, and that's why our music is just not about love stories, or our music is just not about a guy falling in love with a girl. It's not about that. It is there, but not all about it. Our music is about the awareness of education. That what I feel like, if we focus on education, that's where I wanted to get in. We need to get our education really good. We're still way behind about our education, so we're working on it. We're trying to get it there, and hopefully, inshallah, we'll get it.
As far as my experience is concerned, I've been brought up at Korangi, and people there and the people I meet, my friends, they are very much involved in these kind of violent activities. I know them very closely. So I think me as a filmmaker, I have a very powerful tool in my hand. So like I was talking about Departure, it's a recent film that I made. It also highlights such issues, and it also gives some sort of solution to such issues. So inshallah in future, maybe 10 years later from now, you would see some movies, because I think film is a very, very powerful medium to change minds. So hopefully I would keep your suggestion, your advice in mind, and I'll make such movies that change the thoughts of people, that create awareness about such sensitive issues. Thank you.
Sir?
My question from all of you is that Pakistani youngsters are facing a biggest challenge of countering the hardcore mentality in Pakistan. You know very well that Pakistan's top institutions, even if you call them elite institutions, they are also the apologists of a hardcore mentality. And we have also read in many newspapers that one of the top institutions, they refused to allow one scholar in Lahore to address a session. So what do you think, how we have to counter this hardcore mentality? Because everywhere, in every street, in every mohalla, you would see the youngsters, the kids are being influenced by this hardcore mentality. So what do you think?
For me, I would say, from my experience, I would say, let the youngster let them lead. Because in every department, there's an old guy leading the department. You know, sometimes it's really hard. You have, a human being cannot, he's limited. He cannot do everything every time. So he's limited. So what we need to do, give the youngster a chance so they can get into a different zone, or, getting into a different direction. Sometimes people with old mentality, they will just look with just one, I would say, one side of the thing. But with other people and with the youngsters giving them, they can see the broader idea now. That's why I believe that it can happen.
I would like to add to that and say, if you don't like where the conversation is going, change the question, which basically means that the change starts within yourself. And I think that once you do that, you will start affecting the people around you. And I think that's where it's a grassroots level change that can happen.
Okay, another question? Yes, all the way in the back, the young gentleman. Yes, yes, do you want to stand up so they can pass the microphone to you? Yep. I'll get you next.
Well, thank you. Assalamu alaikum, first of all. My question is for all of you that like you said, that American culture want to establish good relation with us. So why they call us Muslim terrorist?
Do you want to answer this question?
We keep answering such questions. So,
Okay, just to answer this question, we are learning about different parts of the world, every society, every dominating culture. Nobody's perfect. You cannot say, okay, that there's a society there and it's perfect, all the good people are there. There are always the bad people and always the good people. Just like in our country, we are having good people and the bad people. So you cannot judge on just seeing the bad people that this country is bad, and you cannot judge just looking at the good people. Oh, this is just a beautiful country. Just the same as there, everywhere.
Also, if you say that why do Americans say that Muslims are terrorists, and then you say, but I'm not like that, the same applies to them. If you say all Americans call us terrorists, then they'll say, but not all Americans. So it goes both ways. And generally, we went to universities in educated spaces, so not everybody there was like that. So what you hear about is our isolated incidents.
I think during our experiences, our time in the United States, nobody called us a terrorist. So,
I would say that always see the positive side of the picture. There are always two sides of a picture, negative and positive. So always focus on the positive side. That will, make your path easier.
Okay, and I think you had a question here. So in the front.
Right here.
I don't want to be a mic hog, like asking question after question, but basically, youngsters, we are very fickle. We like to come off as very aggressive and very progressive people, but we get disappointed very easily. To see people who are young and leaders and successful, we watch too many movies. We Facebook a lot and we read too many books, and our perception of success, we think that success goes like this. It's a straight graph. But people like you who are successful know that it never goes like this. It has a lot of ups and downs, and there are times where you just want to quit. I'm sure all of you must have touched your breaking point 1 billion times. But the thing about a leader is that they have that tenacity not to give up. So coming to my question is that how do you know that the thing you are doing is the thing that you are not going to give up on? And when bad time comes, how do you hold yourself together at that moment and just not stop doing everything altogether? Thank you.
Well, I would say it's just about being true yourself. When you ask yourself, you don't ask people that what I'm doing is right or not. You ask yourself, and when you ask yourself that, am I doing it right? Am I really feeling it? Or this is the thing that I want to, when you get that yes, you feel it. You feel it inside that yes, this is what I want, this is right. Then you don't see different things. Then you just focus on that. So instead of a lot of people, a lot of youngsters, we all do Facebook, we all watch movies. The thing is, we have like our ideals and we follow them. The idea is, at the end, it's all about you. At the end, your life is completely different than the other, and your circumstances is going to be different than the other. It's just you, how you choose when you ask yourself, okay, what I'm doing is right. Once you get that feeling that yes, I'm doing right, you just focus on it, and then you will not even ask yourself a question that, am I going to give up? There will be never a chance when you will ask yourself, okay, I'm going to give up. It will be just like you will have times where you will be like struggling, but you will never think of giving it up once you're on the right path.
I'll just narrate a personal incident. I interned a lot before I applied for the scholarship, and I kept thinking that keep the big picture in mind. But there were a lot of times I wanted to give up because I wasn't happy. But I kept telling myself that there is a bigger goal that you're focusing on, and you'll make it through. So you have to self-reflect and tell yourself that you'll get through.
And what I believe that do not wait for an opportunity to come to you. Do not wait for the time, your time. It's your time where you are sitting. It's your opportunity where you are right now. Just start it and do it wherever you go. Your talent, your skills are with you, and you can, do whatever you want to do wherever you go.
I would just say that keeping my goal in mind, I chose a very difficult goal for me. And I knew that it won't be easy. So just thinking that it won't be easy and there will be a lot of hurdles in my way, I was already prepared for that. And but just one piece of advice would be that when you are in that time in which you would you are very weak, you feel very weak. In such period of time, don't interact with people who would discourage you. Accompany yourself with positive people who would always encourage you, because that is a period of time that you are most certainly to give up. So don't acquaint yourself with negative people. Always be around positive people. So that's the piece of advice I would give you. Thank you.
I want to ask a question. Did you guys find it hard to fit yourself back in this society after you have exposed yourself towards a developed society?
Not really. The first day I came back to Karachi, I went home. Just after meeting my parents, after 5 minutes, there was no electricity. And I'm like, okay, good. Here we are again. So it's just a matter of days. Just in 1 or 2 days, you're back on your track. Because even though you have different cultures, but there is a fragrance. We have this culture that we own. We love it. We've been through it, as a kid. So it's really hard to get over it. I mean, you can be in a different part of the world. I mean, when you meet people there, they're from Pakistan there, they will love to meet you. They will just die to talk to you in Urdu. They're like, where is this guy? I'll just talk to you in Urdu. So even though when you come back, it's just a matter of days, and then you're same thing. Like you're driving, and the rickshawalas are just like, cutting there, and they're like, okay, that's fine. So it's not that bad.
I agree with him. I think it was really easy to settle back because I had such a good, I was constantly in touch with my parents, and then to just slide back into my routine, it was good coming back.
Maria and Babar, what about you? The re-entry experience.
I was really excited about coming back to Pakistan because I was missing the keema, the kebabs, the kadai. So I was really excited about coming back to Karachi and Pakistan. So
nothing like mom's cooking, right?
And like when I landed in Karachi, and my family was there welcoming me, and the first thing that did was phoolon ke haar, So I was totally back in Pakistan. It's like, okay, मैं वापस आ गई हूँ. So nothing more to say. Phoolon ke haar and phoolon ki patiya and all that kind of welcome.
Yeah. Okay. I think there's one last question. The young lady. Yes.
My question is for Athiya. I've been following Girls at Habas for a while now, and I've always wondered. My question is pretty much the same to that guy over there. When you started Girls at Habas, you must have faced some backlash. How did you cope with it?
So I think an incident happened recently where we decided to have a picnic, and we were harassed a lot, and it happened extremely recently. But honestly, you just tell yourself that what you're doing is you're doing the right thing, because if it's ruffling some feathers, it's definitely making an impact. So you tell yourself that you keep going. So that's the...
Okay, so I just want to say, I think time is up for this session, but I want to say thank you to our wonderful panelists, Babar, Maria, Arslan, and Athiya, for sharing their experiences about the United States with a wider audience. I hope you learned a lot from this panel discussion. If there's time, you can speak with them afterwards to find out more about the different projects that they're working on. Babar with his films, Maria with her vocational institute in Baldia town, Arslan with the music ensemble at Napa and UT Austin, as well as music education, and Athiya at Girls at Dabas. So again, thank you very much for all your questions, and I hope you enjoyed this program. If you have any questions about U.S. exchange programs, the U.S. Consulate has a booth that's right by the food court area, and you can pick up information about U.S. exchange programs as well as our Lincoln Corners, here in Pakistan. Okay, so thank you very much.